Welcome to FlowMind, where mindfulness, conscious experience, and artificial intelligence intersect. This session begins a three-part series inspired by Douglas Harding's teaching, Having No Head. At first, the title may sound absurd. It's easy to dismiss, but before turning away, we invite you to stay curious. Because this recognition is not far away. In fact, it's extremely close, but often missed because of two subtle blocks. The first is intellectual. Of course I have a head, this is ridiculous. The second is intuitive. Sure, I can't see my head, but I know it's here. I can even see a bit of my nose. These reactions are normal, they're just thoughts. And if they're allowed to pass without stopping the inquiry, something surprising may begin to reveal itself. This session invites you to look, gently but honestly, at what is actually present in experience, not what you think is there, not what memory insists must be there, but what is here, right now, when attention settles in the visual field. Perhaps when looking into the distance, toward the horizon, you'll notice that even the smudge of the nose fades. And what remains is just experience, needing no head to complete it. Let's begin.
An enormous hurdle to recognizing non-dual awareness is intuition, and I can't stress that enough. This series re-examines a teaching by Douglas Harding, the practice known as having no head. Now, here's the obvious pitfall. You already know there's a head over here. That knowing, that intuition, that presupposition is probably the single biggest barrier to recognizing what's actually present in experience. Because if you look clearly, when viewing the visual field as experience, when knowing the sensations of the head as experience, you'll find that there is no direct evidence of a head at all, not unless the thought is added. This has become clearer and clearer to me when trying to clarify how to bring others to the recognition. And it seems that overcoming this hurdle requires a significantly exploratory and curious approach. We're not just looking at ideas, we're looking at what's here, what's actually noticeable right now. Before labeling the smudge at the bottom of the visual field as a nose, before assuming the diffuse pressure felt above the eyes must be the head, we have to slow down, because you literally cannot reach the recognition of awakening, what traditions refer to as the Buddha mind, unless you can suspend, even for a moment, the strong intuition that says, of course there's a head over here. If, even while laser focused on an object far off on the horizon, you can't recognize that in this moment there is no experiential evidence of a head, then you likely won't be able to recognize in this moment that there is no experiential evidence of a self. These recognitions go hand in hand. Let's dig a little deeper. Why is the brief suspension of this presupposition not only helpful, but critical? Because the inspection of looking and not seeing the head is not about inventing a new belief. It's about a curious return to what is actually available in experience. It's about letting go of explanations sourced from memory and seeing what remains when those overlays are not imposed on the moment. So right now, look off towards the horizon. Can you see your head? Not as a memory, not as a concept, but right now, can you find it? Unless you pull memory into it, there's no direct evidence that it's here. And I know, this is where most people turn off the video, click to the next recommendation, or dismiss the whole thing outright. But if you give this just a curious attention, if you really look, something important might be noticed. Let me stress, there is a requirement here, a demand for clear, observational attention to what is actually here in this moment. Look out the window. If you're being honest, experience, right now, does not tell you whether there are bunny ears on your head or not. Outside the field of view, in the absence of recall, There is no evidence, not from sensation, not from visual input, not from feeling. Let's take it further. Even as you look through the eyes, there is no direct evidence in experience that two eyes are involved. The field of view is just here, present, complete, without even the presence of a findable self on this side of it, an actually locatable subject behind it. And that's the irony. You have to suspend, just lightly, the habitual, intuitive, conceptual approach to mindfulness in order to even begin to see this. And for many people, they just can't get there. They hear a teaching like, I have no head, and their immediate reaction is, of course I have a head. This is ridiculous. And that right there, is the hang-up. They're not available, in that moment, to simply recognize what is present without carrying the inner voice that insists, I know, I know. Here's the punchline. Once non-dual awareness is recognized, once the Buddha mind is experienced, nothing actually changes in terms of memory or information. I am a scientist, and I still carry all the same facts in my memory as before that recognition. Thoughts still come and go. Images appear and fade. The stream of experience continues. But once you begin to pull on the thread, once you start to distinguish between what is actually experienced and what is merely assumed, the whole framework starts to shift. And the power of that shift is not mystical, it's experiential, it's felt. A new relationship arises, one in which experience reveals its own nature without needing to tell a story about who it's happening to. And that is the beginning of something remarkable.
Thank you for exploring this session of FlowMind. What you've just done is not conceptual. It's not about belief. It's about beginning a real inspection of what's present without assumption. This teaching, having no head, is almost too available, so close to awareness that it's missed by those who think they already know. Perhaps you notice the two common hangups. The first, this is absurd. The second, I can't see my head, but I know it's here. And yet, when those thoughts are allowed to arise and pass, and curiosity continues to guide attention, something quieter may be seen. That in the visual field, especially when the gaze extends to the horizon, there's no head to be found, no seer behind the view, just experience, complete in itself. In the next session, we'll begin a tactile, sensation-based exploration to ground this inquiry in physical awareness. Until then, stay curious, stay open, and as always, rest as awareness.